Hi guys, today I'll be giving you guys a review for your Unit 4 end of the unit assessment, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Alright, so jumping into this review, we're looking at question 1. It says Claire has a recipe for a yellow cake. She uses 9 1/3 cups of flour to make 4 cakes. Noah will follow the same recipe. He will make C cakes using F cups of flour. Which of these equations represent a proportional relationship between C and F? Okay, so what I always like to do with proportional relationships and setting up equations is I like to set up a ratio. I want to set up a ratio with cups of flour to the amount of cake or the quantity of cake. Okay, now if you notice it says use C to represent for cakes and F to represent cups of flour. So that's the variables I will be using for the ratio. So for my ratio, I have 9 1/3 cups to 4 cakes. Okay. Now, in previous lessons, I told you guys before working with a mixed number, always change it to its improper fraction form. So I see 9 1/3. So I want to change it to its improper fraction form, which is I'm going to multiply that whole number times the denominator, and I'm going to add the product to that to the numerator. Okay, so 9 times 3 is 27. 27 plus 1 will give me 28 over 3 cups to 4 cakes. Now, I could do two options. I could either find how many cups of flour does it take to make 1 cake, and about how much flour or how much cake can I make with 1 cup of flour, okay? So I'm going to start out by finding out how many cups of flour is needed for 1 cake. Now, if I want to, I could set up the ratio like this, 1 cake. And I can ask myself, well, how can I get 4 to 1? How can I make this quantity of 4 go to 1? I would want to subtract 3, but what I would want to do is I would want to divide by the multiplicative, divide by either 4 or multiply by the multiplicative inverse. So what I'm going to do is divide by 4, and whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. Now for the other side, I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to set it up to where you guys can see the equation better, or the expression better. So it's 28 over 3 divided by 4. Now, anytime you divide fractions, you do want to apply the multiplicative inverse, which would be 28 over 3 times 1/4. Okay? So I'm going to multiply going straight across, which would be 28 over 12. And that can simplify because they're both even numbers. But the biggest or the greatest common factor is 4. And I get 7 over 3. Okay? So it takes 7/3 cups of flour to make 1 cake. All right. Now, if I wanted to set up this equation, okay, I'm going to put cups of flour. If I wanted to set up this equation, I will put it like this: 7/3, and it says cake equals the amount of flours. Okay. What that shows me is that it takes 7/3 cups of flour for 1 cake, because this is 1 cake, and if I was to multiply 1 times 7/3, it would equal the amount of flour. But however, I do not see that equation when I look at my answer choices. This one looks pretty similar, but it's not. The variables are in the wrong spot. Now, in previous lessons, we learned that if we wanted to find the other unit rate, which is how many cups of, well, how much cake can 1 cup of flour make, right? Just would be the reciprocal, and the equation would be inverse, meaning that would be flour that would be the cups. Notice that the ratio, the fraction flipped, or it's the ratio, and the equation, the variables change spots. So now the best answer choice would be C. C. Okay? You either could have had these equations, but we didn't see this one. So it had to be the other one. Okay?